What's up, Wayne Barron here with ArtFX.net inside of Adobe Edge Animate CC. And what we're going to be doing here is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is to make an interactive map, sort of like what you see on Google Maps. If you go into Google Maps itself, just go into the regular map without typing in any location, you will have a map sort of like this right here if you're in the United States. Now you come down here and you have a little arrow, and it's usually got 3 images over here. I just didn't add it into this project. So you click on the arrow and you got locations, and we've got Charlotte, North Carolina. Whenever you run the cursor over it, it pops up this little information box right above it with an arrow that jumps over, or a line that jumps over and goes to whatever location that it is inside the image. And this one right here is Charlotte, North Carolina. This is Dallas, Texas, and this one right here is Denver, Colorado. So that's what we're going to be creating today, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, and this is what it looks like with the entire project. It's rather huge and very time consuming, so get yourself ready and let's go ahead and jump into it. Control Command N, and let's go ahead and create a new composition. Let's go ahead and save it with Control Command S. We're going to save this inside of, we've got Lesson CC Map 1. We're just going to save this one here. And we've already got our images folder in here that's got all the images that we're going to need. So it will automatically pick up once we save it. You'll be able to see the images right here. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and center the stage and make it a responsive scaling. And we want to choose both for each one of these. Now we're going to come over here to our USA map. We have USA map, Denver, Colorado image, Dallas, Texas image, and Charlotte, North Carolina image. We're going to drag our USA map over, and our map is right huge. We're going to actually bring our map down so that it will actually fit somewhat inside of our white stage here. So holding down the shift key, clicking left click on your mouse, and then drag, and this will keep the proportions, and then we're going to drag it up, and we actually want to bring this one just a little bit bigger. So we're going to come back over to our stage. We're going to uncheck responsive scaling so that we have access to this. We're going to change it to %, and then we're going to bring our scale up a bit. Okay, so that's all we need. Now we're going to choose responsive scaling and both. Now whenever we run this, we want our map to be the size that our browser window is. So regardless of what size our browser window is, the responsive scaling is going to make it scale to the proper size of our window. So whenever we go to a full window, we have our map which looks like this. So that's what we want. So let's go ahead and minimize that. So now the next thing that we want to do is that we want to add in our dialogue that we see right here, so that we can actually hide and show this information. So let's go ahead and add in that next. Come over here, grab a hold of our rectangle, and we want to draw our rectangle right here at the bottom. Drag it down to there, and we want to make it white. Okay, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to add in another rectangle, and we want to put that rectangle for the time being, we're just going to set it right up here. Now it is going to be moved. We're going to actually have it sitting right below here once we start working inside our project. So let's go ahead and bring this up to about 75 here. That way we can actually see it better, and that looks good. Drag it down just a little bit, that way everything matches in. Okay, this right here is going to be named our bottom bar. So let's go ahead and change it to bottom bar. This one right here is going to be named our show hide bar. Now we're going to create a new or we're going to duplicate this layer right here. So Control D to duplicate it, and then we're going to name this one holder, and then we're going to arrange these. So our bottom bars here, we're going to drag our holder onto our bottom bar. It's going to drop on like so. And now we're going to come over to our show hide bar, and we're going to add in a text box here, and we're going to type in the sideways arrows. So then we're going to click out of that. So that's going to move this up to about here. Okay, now let's take our text right here. We want to drop it up underneath our show hide bar because it is a child of the show hide bar. We also want to drag our show hide bar down to here. Okay, and now we want to move our show hide bar down to the bottom to about right up in here. So let's just go ahead and let's come over here to our Y, and let's drag it down to about here. That looks good. Okay, so now it's gone. So if you want to find it again, just come over here and click on show hide bar, and then it will show you exactly where it is located at. Okay, and for our next thing we want to do here is that we want to make it so that we can click on our show hide bar and it will show and hide this bar right here. So let's go ahead and come over here, click on click, bring this up. Already got inside of Notepad, so let's bring over Notepad, go ahead and copy this, and now we're going to paste it in here. And what this is going to do is it's going to do a toggle, and then it says if sim bottom bar is visible, then we want to show bar and show this CSS coding. And what this is going to do is it's going to set the position to an absolute. It's going to set the top at 80%, right 20 pixels, and then it's going to set the background color. And then it's going to change our text from our arrow going this way, which was that right there, to going this way, which is going to make it go up. Okay, else if show hide bar is not visible, then it's going to be set at 90% from the top, 20 pixels, and then it's going to have it to where it's going to show the arrows going up so that you can click on it to go up. So that's basically what all this means right here. So then let's go ahead and close out of that. Okay, now let's come over here to our stage, click on our actions, and choose composition ready. And once again, I have inside of Notepad, we want to come over to here, and we want to copy out this information. We're going to paste this. Now, what this is going to say is that it's going to start off with, it's going to hide our bottom bar. That means that whenever it loads, this bottom bar right here is going to be hidden. And I don't know why in the world it's doing this to me for. It's really annoying. So anyway, once it loads, it's going to hide the bottom bar. So it's going to say, if sim bottom bar is visible, do nothing. Okay. Else, do this right here. It's going to show this information. 90%. It's going to be from the top right 20 pixels. So then whenever we run it, it should run right. So whenever it runs, it is hidden. Okay, so the bar is gone, so that is out of our way. Okay, and the reason why it did not show our bar is because we need to change the lowercase b to a uppercase b. Make sure that everything that you do, it is case sensitive. So if you got a capital, it's got to be a capital. If it's lowercase, it's got to be lowercase. Okay, right over here where we see our show hide bar, it got put under our bottom bar, so it automatically made it hidden. So you got to make sure that our show hide bar is not a part of that. So then let's drag this up. Now let's drag and put that up on top. Okay, now we've got two different parents. We've got our bottom bar parent, and then we've got our show hide bar parent. So since that is no longer hidden up underneath the bottom bar whenever it loads, we should be okay. So let's go ahead and save and run it, and there we go. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is that we've got to make it so that our arrows are pointing up and down instead of like they are here. These right here are going up and down, so now we've got to make these to where they are going up and down as well. Okay, let's come over here to our text, and we want to come over here to our transform. We want to go ahead and set this at -90. And what that's going to do is that it's going to set it sideways. So then whenever we run it, it's going to look like this. Okay, so the only thing we need to do now is to make it smaller. It's way too big. So let's come over, let's drag this down. Okay, let's set it at 14. Let's go ahead and just drag that over to the side. And we want to move this over to about up in here. That looks good. So then it's going to look like so. If that looks good. So then whenever we save it and we run it, we've got it sitting over here on the side, and that's what we want. We got our arrows pointing up, which means that whenever we click, it's going to show the information. Our arrows down, we click, it hides the information. So that's what we want. Okay, so now we've got that part of it done. The next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to add in our cities and states. So let's go ahead and drag Denver, Colorado over. We're going to drop it about right up in here will be fine. Let's come over here and we're going to make it so that it keeps the link width and height together. We're going to drop this down to 70. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to move this up a little bit. Okay, so let's come over and grab a hold of Dallas, Texas. Drop it right here. Once again, close it. Make this one 70 as well. I might want to change this down to 60. It's a little bit bigger. And then let's go ahead and move it up. Now let's grab a hold of Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about 2.5 hours away from where I live at. And we're going to drop this down to 70 as well. And let's do 60. That looks good. So we got Charlotte, North Carolina, we've got Dallas, Texas, and we got Denver, Colorado. Let's go ahead and put some text right here. And this is going to be Denver, Colorado. We're going to change our text size to about 9. Let's do it to about 7. I'm going to drop that down to about right up in here. Let's duplicate it twice. Okay, then we're going to move this one over to here. We're going to double click it, and this is going, we lost our text. Okay, now let's Dallas, Texas, and then we want to grab a hold of our number 3. Yep, number 3, and then we're going to drag this one over to about right up in there. We're going to drag this over to the top of Charlotte. Charlotte, North Carolina. Now we're going to change our text to white on each one of these. That way we can actually see them, because with them being black it's really hard to see. So we've got Denver, Colorado, Dallas, Texas, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So we save it, and then we run it, and that's what they look like. So looking good. So now let's come over here, and we want to select each one of these, and we're going to drag these and we're going to drop them right here under our holder, or on top of our holder. So drag and drop them. and now they are a part of the holder, so that whenever we run it now, they are hidden along with the holder. Then whenever we show it, we can now see the images. So that is the good thing about parenting. Whatever you parent will automatically take on its actions. So whatever you've got its actions set at, that is what it's going to do. The next thing we're going to do is that we're going to add in a box up top. And what this box is going to do is that this box is just going to have information about whatever it is. And so we're going to change its color to 75, 74, and 74. Okay, so that looks good, and we're going to drop down its opacity to 68. Okay, so that way you can barely see right through it, and it has a really cool feel to it as well. Okay, so we've got this one. Now we want to duplicate our Denver, Colorado, so let's duplicate it, and then we're going to drag it up and drop it right here. We're going to come over to our text copy 3, and we're going to name this box. We're going to drop our box into our holder. We're going to grab a hold of our text. Then we're going to drag our text and drop it right there on top of our box. Then as you can see, it automatically shows up where it needs to be at. So that's Denver, Colorado sitting on top of the Denver, Colorado image. And then we're going to do the same thing for the rest of them. So let's come over here. Let's duplicate and duplicate one more time. So the box for here, we're going to have it as CO box, which would be Colorado. And then we're going to come over here to this one. This is going to be our Texas box. And then this one right here is going to be our NC box. So let's grab a hold of our Texas box and let's drag it on top of here. And then our North Carolina box, let's go ahead and drag it over to here. You want to try to make everything look uniformed, that way everything looks good together. Okay, now let's come over here, copy Charlotte, over here, paste it, do the same thing to Dallas, Texas, and paste it. So everything looks good. So, but we do want to drag, oops, let's drag this up a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and collapse these. That way it looks a little bit less cluttered. Alright, so what we want to do next is that we want to make it so that we can hover over each one of these items or images, and whenever we hover over them, it makes this box on top of each one of these pop up, and then whenever you hover off from it, they pop back down. So let's go ahead and drag this out. We want to create a label, and this is going to be NC show, and then let's drag this out and let's do NC hide. Come over here and let's do CL show, COL show, and then come out to here, another label, COL hide. Come out to here and let's do text show, and then let's do text hide. Okay, Let's drag this over. We're going to do North Carolina first. So let's go ahead and select our NC box over here. It'll be better to grab it from here instead of there. Okay, so what we want to do is that we want to make it so that it will come on. So let's click here. Oops. Drag out to here. And go ahead and bring this one down to about up in there. Looks good. So that way it will come up. Okay, let's go ahead and create a keyframe right here for its opacity. And come down and let's set it at 0. Okay, so that's got so that whenever it comes on, it looks like so. Then we'll come over here to our NC hide and we're going to drag it down to here so that it would go like so. Create a keyframe and then come out to here and drop it to 0. Let's come over here at the end of our animation right here and click on our action, our trigger, and do stop. Come over here to the end of this animation, click on our action and choose stop. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. And that would be our puppy yawning. She just woke up. Okay, so now let's do our Denver, Colorado. Let's drag it over to here, double click, drag our blue marker to here, and then let's bring this down. There, that looks good. So then we got that. Okay, let's come over here and create a keyframe for the opacity, drag it back, set it to 0, and that will automatically create that keyframe. Let's come over here to our hide, double click, drag this over, and then bring this down. Let's come up, create a keyframe, drag this over, set it to 0. Let's come over here to Texas and let's go ahead and select it, double click, grab the blue, drag it over to here, drag it down, double click, drag this over to the edge, create a keyframe, drag it back, set this to 0. Let's come over here to the Texas hide, double click, drag the arrow over, drag it down, double click, come over here, create a keyframe for the opacity, over here to the edge, set it to 0. So that right there has all of our actions for dragging and dropping our boxes from the top of each one of our images down to the bottom. Now what this is going to do is that this is going to give it the illusion that it's fading out of the image. However, we do want to bring our text over on each one of these. That way it looks a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that. Alright, now the next thing we want to do, this is we want to go ahead and do our mouse over. So let's go ahead and choose. We've got a dilemma here. Okay, since we have our text or our box See, our box is sitting right over here, which means that if we was to run our cursor over the image, we can actually set in the image and it would make it bounce, okay, because we will continuously go from image to box, image to box. Even though the opacity is set to 0, it's still there. It's just invisible, but it's still there. So what we've got to do is that we've got to come over and we actually got to draw a box around each one of these guys, or each one of these girls, or each one of these images. There it goes. And then our last one is here. Let's go ahead and, alright, now drop the opacity. Do the same thing to this one, drop the opacity, and the same thing to this one, drop the opacity. Okay, so what we're doing here is that we are selecting our box. We are not selecting anything else. We are just selecting this box, which is going to be named for each one of these. Start with the rectangle here. This is going to be NC holder. The next one is going to be text holder. Whoops. Text holder, and then this one right here is the Colorado holder, so COLHOLDR. Okay, so let's drag this down and put this on top of let's go ahead and move each one of these so we can have everything in order. Let's move the Colorado to here. And let's move let's move Texas to here. Okay, now we're going to take our NC holder and put it on top of the NC box. The text holder is going to go on top of the text box. And then our Colorado holder is going to go on top of the code box. Okay, so we can select this one. We can go ahead and jump into our actions for our NC. We want to go to a mouse over. Mouse over, and this is going to be NC show. So we're going to play from NC show, and then we're going to do a mouse out, and we're going to do a play from NC hide. Okay, so we also need to come to each one of these at the end. You got to put a stop at the end of each one. If you don't, then it's going to continue to go. Whenever you run your animation, it's going to continue to go. So if we didn't put the stop here, then whenever we run the cursor over our Texas, then it will show Texas, then hide it, show hide. Even whenever the cursor is still on it, it will show hide. So we need to stop each one of these. So let's come over here to the end, put a stop action on this one, and then we're going to come over here. We're going to put a stop action here. You can easily just also select it and copy it and paste it there as well. That will work. So we save that, and now whenever we run it, over here we show it, and then that's the way it's supposed to look. So let's reload that. Okay, if for some reason it's showing that, so we gotta make sure it's not showing that. But as you can see, whenever you run the cursor over it, it looks like it's actually being born from the image itself, and then it floats right back into the image. A really, really cool effect. So let's go ahead and bring that down, and let's find out why. Let's come over here at the very beginning of it, and let's create a stop here. Okay, that way nothing runs. What was happening was that since there wasn't a stop at the beginning of it, it was automatically jumping over and doing the NC show. So you got to have a stop at the beginning to stop the animation, because we don't want the animation to do anything until we actually use the animation. So then let's go ahead and run that again. Click, and there it goes. It's no longer there until you actually run the cursor over it. So let's go ahead and close out of each one of these. And then, okay, so now let's do our Colorado holder. Over here to our mouse over, and we're going to do play from, COLSHOW, and then our mouse out, play from, COLHIDE, and then we're going to come over here to our Texas hold, and we're going to do mouse over, and it's going to be play from, text show, and then mouse out, play from, text hide. Whoops. So then let's go ahead and save that. Let's run it. Click here. Charlotte, North Carolina, hide. Dallas, Texas, hide. And Denver, Colorado, hide. Okay, so that's got all that done. So now let's do the magic and let's make our lines go from here to here, from here to here, and from Denver, Colorado up to right there. Ha! Almost lost it. Actually, I did lose it. But anyway, so let's go ahead and do that one. So what we're going to do here is that we're actually going to use a div to create our line with. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up in our div. We just want to bring it up to here, and we're going to break this, and we're going to set this at 1. Okay, and there you go. There's our line right there. So we're going to NC bar. Okay, so we got a hold of this. We're going to drag this to right there. Now we're going to come over here to where it shows our NC. Now we're going to come over and we're going to choose our transform tool. This is going to allow us to grab a hold of our center and drag it over to here. Alright, now we can come over and we can do our transform, and we can actually rotate this guy. So then we want to rotate it about right up in there, make it smaller. Okay, that looks good. So then, especially what it's going to look like. Okay, so now let's go ahead and choose the NC bar again, and we want to come here. We're going to drag our stop to here. We're actually going to come up and we're going to move this over a little bit. Going to drag our stop to there. Okay, we're going to double click. We're going to drag our blue marker out to here. We're going to come over. We're going to choose 0. Double click here, and then there. So whenever it runs, it's going to run like so. And then we're going to come out to here. And we're going to move. I'm going to drag this over. Okay, what we want to do is that we want to make it so that it hides our line before our box goes down. So now we're going to come over here to our NC bar, choose 0, so now it goes away and then it hides like so. So whenever we run it, we show, and that's how that works. Pretty sweet, huh? So we can still see our Charlotte, North Carolina label or our box dropping down. It's still staying visible. So what has happened there is that we need to drag this over to here. And there it goes. Okay, now you see we're able to keep our cursor all in here. We can move it around and nothing changes. Even running over the text layer does not change it. That is because we put this the NC holder, which is the COL holder, the text holder, the NC holder. That is staying on top of all of the other layers so that we can use that to control all of our actions. Okay, so next thing that we want to do is that we want to create one for our other ones. So we're going to do this one for, let's do and let's go ahead and change this one to bar, and we're going to duplicate this one, and then this one right here we're going to name text bar. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide our text bar, and let's choose our Colorado bar, and we want to drag this one down and put it right there. Transform, and let's drag this over to here, and then let's go ahead and drag this around to there. Okay, so we want to make this to where it shows. Okay, that right there looks good, so we're going to leave that there. Okay, so now, just like before, we want to make it so that it's going to show once this animation gets finished. So then we're going to drag our stop to here. I'm going to drag our blue line to there because this is a shorter distance. Right there looks good. Okay, so now we're going to come over with our Colorado bar selected. We need to attach it, so click there. Now let's double click, drag the blue bar over, now hit 0. Bingo. Double click there, and then whenever you run it, it's like so. And let's come over here and let's run this one to here, and let's set this one at 0. Okay, so we want to put the other animation at the end of here. So we're going to drag this over to right there, come back over, make sure that our stop is right, everything's good there. So now we're going to do one more, and that's going to be our Texas. So we're going to come over here to the end of Texas, drag this over. We'll reset the rest of that in a minute. Double click here, drag this over to there. Let's come up and let's choose our text bar, and actually let's click right there. So we want to grab a hold of this, and we want to move it to Dallas, just right there. Drag this over, just a little bit smaller, and then drag this over to there, double click, drag this over, and then set it at 0. Double click here, come over here to this one, double click, and then drag this over, and then hit 0. So now Okay, we want our okay. Let's take this, move it to here, come up to come over to here, move this over. Oops. And then that ends there. Drag this over. Save it and run it. We got Charlotte. We got Dallas, Texas. And we've got Denver, Colorado. So there you go. I mean, it's a really neat little interaction that you can give to your users. And the good thing about it is that it go as big as you need it to go. It's just that it sort of gets a little blown out of proportion. So you got to keep that in mind whenever you're making these applications. It depends on your screen resolution on how big that you're going to take it. So if you're going to design it for really big screens, then you want to do as I did here. This one right here, as you can see, everything stays crisp. The reason why is that I made the page as big as the image is. So you can see it here. Let's go back to the original. The original one right here, as you can see, is 1,339 by 717. Okay, so that's how big this stage is. Okay, compared to this stage being 758 by 400. And so that's something that you need to keep in mind. If you're going to be designing this for bigger monitors, then you want to make sure that your map image is as big as you need it to be for the rest of the browsers that you're going to work with. And keep in mind, with the responsive scaling, you can go down as small as you need to go and it's still going to work without any problems. So keep that in mind as well whenever you start working on this project. And so let's close out of all these, get to the last one. And as you can see, there's a humongous difference between these two. How this one gets really blurry, this one right here stays picture perfect. Okay, alright, so I mean, that's it. It is a really cool, very neat project. I'm sure y'all gonna have a ball with it. It's hopefully the lesson wasn't too long, too strenuous. I'm gonna try to cut it down to make it to where it makes some sense, because this was a long one. And also got a little interruptions from our puppy Sandy, but you know something, that's life. Y'all have a rocking rest of the week. This is Wayne Barron with darkeffects.net inside of Adobe Edge Animate CC. Bye bye. For everybody that is a member of our Coding Source website and you would like to download this project file or many others from our Dark Effects website, anything that deals with animation or deals with videography, anything that is not web design related can be downloaded from darkeffects.com. And how you do that is that if you are currently a member of cffcs.com, simply log into your profile and come over here and choose account. Once you click on the account link, once you get onto your account page, simply click on the Join Dark Effects button, and this will enter you into the new darkeffects.com website. Once you do this, you will then be able to log in to darkeffects.com to download all project files and to keep track of all videos watched within the Dark Effects website. Thank you.